Welcome, everybody. My name is Fernando Garcia. I'm an investment advisor representative here at Excel Wealth Management. Joining me today, I have two members of my team, Mitch Cook and Julie Sawyer. They're going to be keeping an eye on you guys and any questions that might come through. Speaking of questions, if you guys do have any questions, make sure that you guys use the Q&A feature below and not the chat feature. Again, Q&A box, not the chat feature, and we'll try to get to your questions at the end of the presentation. Okay. So again, today we're going to talk about ways we can use technology, apps to help your financial journey. These apps do more than just track numbers. They provide, real information about your spending habits and help you stay organized. So let's dive in. Let's see, why is it not going? There you go. As always, this is for education purposes only. So there are multiple apps out there that we're going to be talking about, but we're going to look at how these apps can help you and tie back to your financial wellness. So let's jump into it. So we know that in today's world it's easier than ever to spend money without thinking, right? Even on things that we don't even need. We have things like smartphones or computers, and then we have the apps that put almost anything at reach. On top of that, we have credit cards. So you have an iPhone or a phone with, Amazon, and then you have your credit card, and that is a recipe for disaster. That's where I think a lot of us, use and get that impulse spending. So how can we avoid that? And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Then you have, everybody knows, if you have an Alexa, they're always listening. I know I've talked about how we are either craving a certain food or maybe I'm looking at a certain gadget, and then 2 minutes later, I'll open my Facebook or Instagram, and guess what? Bam, there's an ad. So again, she is always listening. And then to make things a lot harder, things are getting a lot more expensive. And this is where, most people are just not adjusting their budgets to these rising costs and leading for more financial stress and growing debt. So let's start by understanding debt. So debt is money that is borrowed and expected to be paid back over time, normally with interest. So here we have a visual of what the US household debt was in the last 13 years. It went from 12 trillion in 2013 to 18 trillion in 2025. Now, there are many reasons for this, but as mentioned before, the lack of planning, budgeting, is where people tend to get in trouble. So that is why budgeting matters, right? It is going to be your financial GPS. It's going to help you guide your decisions, see where that money goes or should be going. It's going to bring awareness, discipline, and control into your life, but it also allows you to achieve those smaller and bigger goals, maybe like purchasing a home, right? Or maybe buying your dream car. So you're probably asking yourself, well, where should I start? Start by understanding what's important and what's not. The 50-30-20 budgeting rule. What is that? Well, from your pay, you're going to put 50% towards your needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% towards your savings. So needs are going to be those things you have to spend money on. Food, rent, gas, insurance, you name it, right? Those things that you have to spend money on. Those wants are those things that you can live without having. And then your savings, things like emergency funds, retirement savings, college education for your kids. Maybe like I said before, you're probably planning for a big purchase, maybe like a house. Those are the things that are going to go into that savings. Again, it is that 50-30-20. You want to pay those needs first, okay? Pay those needs first, then make sure you put your 20% into your savings, and whatever is left, use it towards your wants. Enjoy life, right? But be smart about it. Don't be spending it on things that is going to put you farther in debt. Now, I will share one of my favorite quotes, and I hope that that sticks with you guys. And that is, good decisions don't make life easy, but they do make it easier. Now, I promise you, if you make good decisions today, your future self will appreciate that. Now, you know what makes life easy? Technology. So here at Excel, we have our Accelerate app guiding you every step of the way. It's financial planning at your fingertips. If you have not downloaded this app, I would highly recommend you guys do, and you can scan the QR code. Once you have downloaded it, sign in with an email, look for your institution, answer some questions about your financial habits, and that's where that customized financial advice comes in. Now, if you do have the app, but you have not logged in several months, do know that our budgeting feature has gone through some major changes within the last few months. Now it's going to let you create buckets. See that money coming in and that money going out. Well, how is that going to work? So again, you have your money coming in, how much you're making, and you're going to put your needs, your wants, your savings. Every week, you go back into the app, you update how much money you're spending, and at the end of the month, it's going to tell you whether you are staying within your budget, and if you did, where that next dollar could go, right? So we'll give you that recommendation where that next dollar could go. Now, this is another app, Rocket Money, that as we get to the end of the year, is going to help you clean up your finances, from bill negotiations to subscriptions, budgeting, you name it. Now, I wish I had this app last year. I'll give you a quick example. I don't like reading books. I like more the audiobook. And I had an Audible subscription. And then, 6 months, 7 months later, I realized that I'm like, hey, why am I paying $20 a month? And then I realized that I had it for 7 months. So 7 months, $20. I'm like, dude, you kidding me? So now I pay more attention to the money coming out of my bank account and my credit card. But again, this would have been a great tool for me to have last year. So let's say, you use it for, bill negotiations. The average savings for bill negotiations is anywhere from $100 to $500 per year. Okay. And that is whether you're negotiating your phone bill, cable, if you still have cable, internet, utilities, whatever that is the average savings. Now, others see an average savings of $400 per year on canceled subscriptions. I would have been in that boat. So let's say you negotiated your bills and lowered it by $300 a year. Plus, you also use the subscription cancellation and you saved another $200 for a total of $500 a year on savings. Those $500 a year turns to be about 41 and some change, right? A month. So those $41 and some change could have made a huge difference in your retirement savings. So let's talk about that. Let's take a deeper look into it. Let's say you would have taken that average savings of $41 and some change per month and invested it for 30 years with an average annual return of 8%. Your 30 years, your $15,000 investment could have turned into almost $51,000. So again, we're not talking pocket change. We're talking a drastic increase in your retirement savings. So again, checking out that application, making sure that you are taking advantage of the tools in front of you is going to be crucial. Now, speaking of retirement, depending on who your employer is and what vendor they use, they'll have different resources, tools and resources for you to have out there. Many of them have this tool dedicated to helping you see your estimated monthly income based on your contributions and your set retirement date. So make sure that you guys download the right application. Like I said, depending on who your employer is and what vendor they use, like I said, they all have different tools and resources for you, so take advantage of those. Now we also have credit score apps. This gives you a pretty good idea of how you're doing financially. We know that the higher the score, the lower the interest, the greater the savings. And the more you save, the more you can put towards your retirement savings or maybe pay off some debt, which again, once you pay off that debt, guess what happened to your credit score? I mean, sorry, goes up, interest rates go down. So banks and credit cards actually now let you see your credit score for free. So whether you have Wells Fargo, Chase, American Express, whatever that is, download that app, take advantage of that free credit score report. But my personal favorite that I use pretty much every day, it is the Credit Karma. That one does a pretty good job of breaking down your credit report, whether it is account balances, inquiries, potential identity theft activity. I mean, they do so much. Now, this app, it is free. And you probably ask, well, what's the catch? Well, there is no catch. I mean, they give you this free because they make their money by product recommendations. If you've never seen Credit Karma, I'll give you a quick example. So once you log in, obviously they have your credit history, what kind of accounts you have open, blah, 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 credit cards open. And then they try to recommend whether it's a credit card or personal loans, auto loans, insurances. And again, by those recommendations, they get incentives back. And that's what pays for you to have this tool available to you for free. So definitely check Credit Karma out. Again, they're not paying us to say this. I'm just saying it from experience that I do like Credit Karma myself. Then as we get closer to the holiday season, I know a lot of you have either been spending some money or are about to be spending some money. So keep an eye out on these apps. So we have apps for online shopping, receipt cashback, gas cashback. Let's talk about the online shopping for Honey. So what does Honey do? They find coupons across the internet and they apply it at checkout. Honey partners with thousands of retailers. How do they make their money? Well, Honey, just like Credit Karma, gets commissions, and then they share those commissions with you in forms of rewards. Fetch, the receipt cashback, that's a receipt scanning app. So again, when you go Target, scan your receipt, earn points for every receipt and bonuses on certain brands and products. How do they make their money? Well, you can tell a lot about a person from their receipts. So what they do is obviously they track all your receipts and then they sell that information to whoever wants to buy it. And that's how you see some of these targeted ads. So yeah, they sell your information pretty much. Upside, which is going to be for gas, is just going to show you nearby participating gas stations. So let's say you are about to go get some gas and you see the closest one they're participating in Upside. You go and claim, you go in, pay pay for the gas, get a receipt, you upload it, and that's how you earn some of that cash back. How does Upside make money by doing that is they get commission from businesses that want more customers. So again, they get money, they share a little bit of that back to you. Well, these are only a few. Oh, hold on. Did I go to? Well, these are only a few applications that we talked about. There are a lot of apps out there that do the same thing. It's just a matter of what you feel comfortable using. or maybe, recommendations. And these are some of the top ones out there. But again, there's many out there for you guys. Now, let's talk about some of the risks and tips. As we know, apps make make it easy for us to save, shop, earn those rewards. But again, there are important risks to watch out. Most apps are going to track your data and location and then sell that information. And that's where, again, I said before, that's where you see some of that targeted advertising. Another risk is linking your financial account. That always carries risk, especially if the app is not secure enough. So, doing your research on that is going to be very important. Behavioral manipulation. So this one is interesting because some retailers might raise prices and then use cashback or rewards to make a deal look better than it actually is. And then they tempt you to buy it without even needing it, but you feel great because it feels like you got an amazing deal. Haven't we been there? So now you're thinking, hey, I just purchased this computer. I wonder if I could have gotten it for lower somewhere else. And I think my wife hates me for that because every time I buy something, and after I buy it, I go back online and I'm like, let me see if I could have gotten it cheaper somewhere else. And then whether I know that I got it the cheapest, or I now could have gotten it cheaper, and maybe I'm still within the return policy. So again, staying on top of that is great too. Another one is the transparency. So some of these apps, they might tell you that I will give you a certain percentage or a certain amount cash back, but they might not, or there might be errors that the fine print, what we would call. So always keep an eye on that. Now, here are some of the tips that we will give you to help you stay safe and be smart about, these apps. So I'm sure that when you download an app, the first thing that it asks you is, do you want give them tracking permission? Try to deny tracking permission when possible, right? There's going to be some that you just have to give them due to whatever it is. But if you can deny it, go for it. Do not link your bank account unless the app is known for their security. If you like reading, read their privacy policies. Maybe use a different email, especially if they're going to be sending you spam emails and targeted ads. Why keep it on the one that you use all the time, or even a work email? Why would you do that, right? So make sure you, like I said, use a different email. And the last one is going to be redeem your rewards as gift cards instead of bank transfers. Like I said before, you want to minimize your risk, and avoiding linking that bank account might help you in the long term. But again, if the app is known for their security, why not? Again, you take these steps to help protect your information, you should be good. Now, this one right here is going to be a bonus for the holiday. What are some things that you can do? Well, plan ahead of time. Well, maybe you did not plan this year. Well, guess what? There's always next year. Focus on giving meaningful gifts. I know we've all been in situations where you've spent hundreds of dollars on a gift that was only used once and then was forgotten, sitting in the back of the closet. So again, meaningful gifts. Keep an eye on discounts. So track those deals. Black Friday coming up, Cyber Monday coming up. I'll give you a quick example. I been needing a winter coat, and the one that I wanted normally runs for about $150 or more, plus shipping and all that stuff. And I waited and waited and waited, and then I get an ad on Instagram. I think it was Facebook, maybe. I think it was Facebook. And it was just saying how some of the items on the brand were on sale. So I went back in there. The one that I was eyeing went from $150 to $30. I was like, man, I got me two of those. two different colors, I am set for a couple of years. So again, just kind of keeping an eye out to see whether and when those discounts are going to happen. It's going to be very important, especially if you're trying to save a couple bucks. Maybe start saving money a little sooner in the year. If each year you average $1,000 on gifts for the whole family, if you start early, the stress is minimized for that. So, okay, last but not least, this one, Freedom app, is probably the most powerful tool to manage your time and protecting your wallet, and it's going to be an app blocker. Now, this one here, I highly, highly recommend. So let's look at a quick statistic of this. So did you know on average people spend about 4.5 hours a day on their phones? That's quite a bit, right? Um, that's a total of 11 years over a lifetime. And you know what they say? Time is money. But also that time that you're spending on your phone, it's time away from your loved ones. So again, you can only get so much time and you cannot get it back. So this is where this app can come into play. It lets you set app limits for either shopping, social media, entertainment, and it all helps reduce that impulse spending, right? You can also set focus sessions where it lets you focus on your financial tasks, like maybe reviewing your budget or reviewing just your expenses. They also have a strict mode. That one prevents you from bypassing those blocked times during emotional or impulse moments. So, like I said, you will not be able to bypass it if something happened. We've all been there. We're like, hey, I'm not gonna use technology or social media for a week, and then 3 hours later you're back on Facebook, right? I know I've been there. So all of these things that the app provides for you guys or offers helps with your mental health. You spend less time scrolling, meaning less temptations, but also less time comparing your life to others. Why does it matter that your friend from high school just got back from Italy? Why does it matter that they just purchased a brand new house? You don't know their financial situation, right? You don't know if they're putting themselves farther down in that debt rabbit hole. So again, do not compare yourself to others. Use this app to prevent, impulse spending, all that stuff. Now, I guess quick disclaimer on this app, they do offer a free version that have limited tools, but they also have a paid version that unlocks all capabilities. And it's fairly priced compared to what it does and what other apps have out there. You also have our YouTube channel where we post past seminars or we post micro-learning videos. So I would say check that one out. We do have them both in Spanish and English. So if you know somebody who does not speak English, feel free to share this with them. Or if somebody just doesn't understand certain topics, send them the links, share with them. Sharing is caring. And then again, we have our next webinar coming in December 17th, and that is on identity theft and protecting your digital self. So make sure that you guys are going and registering for that as well. That way you can have a good start to the year, being protected from any risk out there. Now, with that being said, we'll see you guys on the next one.